Okay, um, so I guess I want to start this video off by saying that smart people, people who seem to be really bright, can make horribly dumb mistakes, okay? So in case you're not familiar with him, go to YouTube and look up Andrew Huberman, okay? That's Huberman. Look at his videos and just kind of observe general features and trends of the kinds of content he posts. And you'll figure out that he's seemingly a guy with superhuman capacities for intellectual productivity and the production of useful information that he provides to a lot of people free of charge, okay? Now, when you take a look at his output and his lifestyle and his recommendations and his general clear-headedness and seemingly excellent intentions, you might think, this is one of the best people we have, certainly on the internet and maybe just in general in humanity right now, okay? That's the impression I get from him. Now, that being said, there was a time in his life in which, according to an interview excerpt that he had given and that I had witnessed some months ago, he was consuming a ridiculous amount of caffeine every day to get a very high amount of work done every single day during a high demand period of his work life. And he entered a medical testing context in which I guess he was undergoing some kinds of health assessments. And certain doctors came up to him and they asked him about his alcohol habits and, you know, how long he's been a drinker, and maybe they were worried about him being a severe alcoholic. And it turned out that he was consuming so much caffeine every day that he had elevated liver enzymes, okay? And when he clarified how much caffeine he was having every single day, I kind of gasped, and normally that never happens. But he said he was having 3 to 4 grams of caffeine a day, okay? To put that in perspective, I think the American Heart Association clarifies and has said for a long time that the average healthy adult in the United States shouldn't be having more than 400 milligrams of caffeine, okay? So basically, this is to clarify that everybody suffers from hidden battles, okay? And if you speak to someone for long enough and both of you can put your guards down, you're going to find that out sooner or later. So there's another person who I admire who is also productive on the internet and in general. His name is Tim Ferriss, okay? So he's written some great books and produced a lot of great long-form content, both in textual and audio form. And he's got some nice videos out there as well. And, you know, what he clarified in a podcast episode he made very late in his successful career is that he was certainly abused as a child, and at some point he became fiendishly, fanatically obsessed with pain tolerance and performance and competitive victories, okay? So if you had looked at his output prior to his revealing his personal backstory in a very sensitive podcast episode, you never would have guessed he was an abuse victim. You would just think he was raised in privileged settings and never really dealt with any major traumas, okay? So, once again, everyone suffers from hidden battles that they're pretty much not mentioning in polite society. So, that gives me cause to say that it's useful to try to be kind to nearly everyone. And I want to end this on a certain note that I think is going to be a bit iconoclastic. But there's this notion that smart guys finish last in, nice guys finish last in life. Whereas in reality, what I've noted in both my own life and the lives of many others who were not raised in obscenely low trust, obscenely violent settings, is that smart guys often finish nice. So it's not simply that you're exploited and thrown away if you're kind to people, but if you do it in a way that's measured and you're not endlessly people-pleasing and endlessly being like George R. Price or something, You can actually build up your reputation through solid pro-social outputs without exhausting all your resources, you know? So, in the words of one of my current friends, it is true that sometimes you have to be an asshole, but in general, you don't have to be standoffish and guarded as long as you're not in a setting in which people are over traumatized and, you know, overly difficult with each other. If you're in like certain settings in which there's bulletproof glass everywhere and everybody is strapped with a firearm and, you know, people are in and out of jails and prisons and that kind of thing, then I'm not going to tell you to just be nice and kind because you're going to have your guard up. But for certain kinds of people who I want to address just within this video, just keep in mind that you want to live in a setting in which people can trust each other and not have to do extra mental math and emotional labor just to make it through a simple conversation, you know, in like a retail setting or a public library or whatever. So, yeah, be kind to nearly everyone, unless you're in a low trust context. All right, thank you for watching and have a good day, and God bless you.